All right, good morning. It's Dane at Jonah Custom Guitars. This is the 70 to 75 Gibson acoustic that we put a bridge doctor in, and also the Lyric under saddle microphone from LR Bags. So I put the bridge doctor in and put it under tension for several days now. It's the day after Christmas, so it's been sitting for probably at least a week with some tension on it. I came out at some point and added a little more tension to it. The top, the bridge on the top, so I don't know if I should try to do this. I got the camera set up for what I'm going to do to the net, but did this a while back. I like to put a straight edge. Kind of gives me an indication of where the bridge is in straight, relationship to the top. I didn't lower the string height a lot at the 12th fret with the bridge doctor, which typically will happen. It's not getting quite as much movement from this as I do with a normal, I shouldn't say normal, I should say standard bridge plate type situation. So, but I definitely flattened the hump behind the bridge and brought up the belly in front of the bridge. So just leveling the top out, I feel pretty good about that. Put the bridge doctor in. Also did the sound, the pickup, which includes the battery bag at the block and the little volume thing in the sound hole, and then the mic itself. Cleaned it up, oiled the fretboard. I like the StewMac fretboard oil. That's been working out really great for me. I've been using it for years. It does have some dust and stuff on it now from sitting around. Got restrung. Used the he likes 12 gauge. They're D'Addario bronze. Okay, so I'm gonna file the net in a little closer. It's got a pretty good. It's well within Gibson specs, but I like the net to be a little closer than that. My relief is at 12 thousandths, middle of the neck, and so and my string height now. Check a couple days. I think it's 6. I think we started out at 7, and it's right at 6. Filing the nut down isn't really going to help us much with that, but it'll certainly make it easier to play, especially with 12s. I like 10s, but a lot of the guys I do work for like a little heavier gauge on their acoustics. Of course, for instance, he didn't have a pickup in this one, so now that he has a pickup, the gauge may not be as critical because you can just turn it up. Anyway, so we're gonna start in with this thing. So the first string is a 53, this fatty, and so you can see here my collection of nut files. Started out with the StewMac files that are double-sided, so you have two sizes on both edges, and I've been using these other ones because they've got a rounded bottom edge rather than kind of a diamond point on the double files from StewMac. These files, if you're into this, you'll recognize that file from StewMac, the double edge, but it's got kind of a pointed edge on it, so you have to roll them in the slot. Otherwise you end up with a V that the string is sitting in, and it kind of wants to hang up. Anyway, so I've been adding these other files to my collection as I go here. Just about every time I do an order, I order an extra file. I've just about got it rounded out pretty well. So I'm going to use a 56 thousandths on this E, since it's a 53, and my next file down is actually a 50. So I'd have to put that in rock and roll it, and I don't think 3 thousandths over is, it's not bad at all. Nothing to get alarmed about. So, file goes in. I like to go somewhere in between the two, right? You don't want to go flat with the fretboard. You don't want to necessarily match the angle on the headstock, but pretty close. Probably I'm going to err in that direction. Also don't want to back file, like if you happen to be left-handed or something, or you set up different, you wanted to file from the headstock back, it would be really easy to underfile that way, and you end up with the takeoff point being, you know, in the front edge of the net. You don't want that. You definitely want your brake angle to happen right at the bridge side of the net, right there. So anyway, this doesn't have to come down a great deal. I should have showed you what I show you over on the A string. Just hold it down at the 3rd fret and then see what kind of gap I have here, and maybe I should measure it, but like I said, set up on the Gibson spec, I was right. I was at about 25 thousandths probably, and Gibson's looking for 22 on the E string, and I think around 18 on that. That's just a little too high. So anyway, I'm just going to be very, very careful and only do a couple strokes on this thing, pretty much. And since it's 56 thousandths on the file, I don't have to rock it or anything, just straight in. It had some graphite or something in the hole, and I'm still seeing graphite, so I didn't do much. I think I just filed the front edge of that nut down a tad. And then check it again, just to see where I'm at here. It didn't really move the string at all. I'll measure that just for fun. So there's about 25 thousandths with the fret, the string just at level, and then with it pressed at the 3rd fret. I don't normally even measure this. I just get down to where I like the eyeball of it and go with that. It's a little snug right now at 12, so let's take it down to a 10 and see. So it felt like it was rubbing slightly at 10, and it's not rubbing at all on a 9,000, so we're definitely splitting hairs. But we'll take a few thousandths out of that. Maybe end up with 5, but like I said, I'm just going to go to my eyeball and then see what we measure and see how that looks in comparison. Just very, very gently. If I'm not paying attention, it's really easy to blow a nut and just go too deep, too fast. And there again, I'm looking at that graphite that's down in the slot, so I know I'm not to there yet. The problem is, depending on how the last guy filed this thing, it's very uneven looking down there, so if I take it down to where it's completely even, I may be too low. Still looks pretty high. I haven't done a lot. Yeah, it's rubbing on that 9 thousandths now, so I took a little bit out. And this is strung to pitch. Of course, by the time I'm done yanking all these strings, it won't be in tune, but it's, you know, it's pretty close to being as tight as it's going to be. So I like to have that. You know, you could loosen them all up to make it easier, but then your neck isn't setting in the finish position. You know, if you don't have the same kind of tension, as you loosen it, your neck's going to bow up. It's going to give you more room underneath your string, and you don't want that. I'm not going to torture you with filing all of these on camera, because that would take a long time. No, I don't think I'd want to sit through all that. Anyway, the main thing I want to do is get this nut down just a tad lower. Yeah, it's going very, very slowly. I'm not even down to 8 thousandths yet on that, as far as being, you know, fretted at the 3rd and measured that way. And there again, I'm kind of halfway in between the angle of the flat, parallel to the fretboard, and or parallel to the headstock. I'm right in the middle of those two. Okay, I've just about completely removed all of the graphite from the previous setup. I'm still high by my eyeball where I would set it. So I'm going to take some more. And if this seems tedious, it is. I've still got quite a bit there. I'm going to take some more. Also, one of those people, I play 10s on my acoustics, and actually it's the same gauge I play on my electrics, and I really don't see why I should suffer with an acoustic guitar just because it's an acoustic guitar. So I tend to get my Sorry about that. Forgot that was on. I've actually got another little project I'm doing some glue up, and I had my air hose to blow glue into a crack on a repair, so sorry. Anyway, as I was saying, I don't see the need to have an acoustic be difficult to play just because it's an acoustic instrument and the specs are higher. If the neck is slim and the setup is good, it should play nicely. So I don't, like I said, I like my acoustic guitar to play as well as my electrics. Alright, so I'm still probably a little high, but I'm going to work my way across that. Let's see where I'm at as far as, just for measuring's sake. I'll check it at 6. It's not to 6 yet, so. So it's a little snug, not snug, but so it's probably right around 7 thousandths. All right, so that's the whole deal here. I'm just going to work my way across this, lower those slots down to the point where you got a little better action at the nut, and possibly a little easier to play. As you can see, my E string is out of tune. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera off. Guys, thanks for watching. And I'll probably go ahead and do one more short one, just a little bit of finish up. I don't have an acoustic amp, so I don't know if it's going to do the pickup any justice or not. And just in case I decide not to do another video on this particular guitar, I had it plugged in last night, and the top, I don't have like super long nails, but I draw them out a little bit so I can kind of finger pick a bit, and just my fingers tapping the top with it plugged into an amp was very loud, and I don't know for me if that would be acceptable. I don't have that kind of response when I have just the transducer or the piezo under the saddle. So anyway, I may or may not do another video, but we'll see. So for now, that's it. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe. Merry Christmas.